Hey guys, today we'll break down my cupcake ghost animation. This is my second completed project since I completed the donut. I was hoping to get through it without needing additional tutorials, but I work on multiple things at once, and I actually ended up forgetting a lot of what I learned from the Blender Guru. It took me 4 attempts to complete this. The first one, as you can see, it didn't go so well. The second one, it wasn't too bad. I think this is when I decided to start over so I could just record the whole process. And my third attempt, I was actually getting somewhere, but I was having so many issues and I kept having this weird error pop up, so I decided just to start over completely. Although it was a pain, I do think redoing it so many times helped me understand Blender a little more. Anyways, today we'll be going over how to make the cupcake, how to make the cupcake liner, how to make the frosting, how to add texture to the breading, and how to add a polka dot pattern. So let's get into it. We'll start off in object mode and add a circle by hitting Shift A, click mesh and select circle. Make sure to be on vertex select and select the circle. We'll extrude upwards along the Z axis by hitting E, then the Z key to make it a little taller. Now we'll select the top row of vertices. We need to select every other vertex, so we can go up to the select tab and click checker deselect, then scale outward like this. Next we'll extrude the top row upward on the Z axis one more time. Then we can hit S to scale the top row outward to give it a better shape. This is looking okay so far. Now to add 2 edge loops by hitting Ctrl R. Let's put one at the bottom and one at the top. Then we'll fill in the bottom by selecting the bottom row of vertices and hitting F. We can add a subdivision modifier now, then hit I to inset the bottom. Tap back into object mode, right click and hit shade smooth. Now we can tab back into edit mode and select the top row. Let's go ahead and hit F2 and rename this to paper cup. Select the top row, hit Shift D to duplicate, then hit P and click selection so they're separate objects. Then select the top row again and hit EZ to extrude down the Z axis, then hit S to scale it inward. Now hit EZ again and scale up the Z axis. Right click for loop tools. You do have to add this in your preferences. Select circle to scale in to give it a rounder shape. Tab into object mode and shade smooth. Tab back into edit mode. Let's extrude up the Z axis and then we'll scale inward. Hit G then Z to push this down the Z axis a little bit. Now we'll do the same here. Select this row and extrude up the Z axis, then scale inward. Push down the Z axis again. Let's scale this in a little more. I'm actually going to scale it in even further. Now we'll hit F to fill and I to inset at the top to close, and there we have our cupcake. Next we'll begin the frosting by adding a cylinder. Make sure the vertices are set to 16. We'll hit G, then Z to move up along the Z axis. Hit S to scale to make this a little bigger. Tap back into edit mode. In edge select, we'll click every other edge. Hit S, Shift Z and scale inward. Then go to vertices and assign a new vertex group. We'll go to the modifiers properties, add a simple deform modifier and change the axis to Z. And we'll add another simple deform modifier. Change the axis to Z here as well. Make sure to set it to taper. We'll also change the factor to negative so it's wide at the bottom and gets narrow towards the top. We can play with the angle to make it twist. Now hit Ctrl R to add a bunch of edge loops. This is how it's looking so far. Now we'll add a subsurface division modifier. Back to vertex groups and select the same vertex group. Make sure to be in face select and click Shift E to make them sharper. Select the top face, scale in a bit more, turn on proportional editing and click smooth. Now to scale in even more. Right about there is good. Let's go back to the taper modifier and adjust the factor to make the frosting look more like frosting. Tap back into object mode. We can adjust the angle a bit, just like this. Hit S to scale. This looks like an okay size. We can bring it closer to the cupcake by hitting G, then Z. Adjust the scale even more now. We can also scale it along the Z axis to make it taller or shorter. Now right click and shade smooth, and here we have our frosting. Now that we have the cupcake, we can add some color to it. Select the frosting, make sure to be in the viewport shading tab. Go to materials, click add new material, click base color, and we'll go with orange since we're going with a Halloween theme. We can go ahead and add a subsurface color as well. Let's actually bring the frosting a little lower by hitting G and then Z. Adjust the roughness to make it look shiny. Click the breading, we'll add some color to it too. It'll be a chocolate cupcake, so let's make it orange. Then we can slide this down to make it brown. Select the paper cup, we'll just color it black for now. Now let's add a polka dot pattern to the paper cup. Using the shading workspace, make sure to still be on rendered preview. Select the paper cup. Here we'll shift and right click to add a volanol node. Connect color to base color. Make sure to change F1 to smooth F1. Next we'll add a texture coordinate node to the left of the volanol node. Connect it to vector. Then Shift A to add a mapping node to the right of the volanol node. Box select to scoot these over. Next we'll add a color ramp to the right of the mapping node. Then add a mix RGB node to the right of the color ramp. Make sure color is connected to FAC. Now connect distance to vector over here. Change this to constant, then change the position value to 0.25. So the top color will be the color of the dots, so we'll make those orange. The bottom will be our base color, so we'll keep those black. Move these around to adjust the amount of each color. Let's adjust the roughness and specular over here as well. We don't want the paper liner to be glossy. We need to adjust these to 0, 1, 1, 1. We'll adjust these to 0, 0, 1, 1. Now make this darker. We can adjust the balance. Select all nodes and press G to group them. From group input, connect scale to scale, randomness to randomness, connect colors 1 and 2, connect to specular and roughness as well. Hit N to pull up these settings and go to group. We can go ahead and rename these. Color 1 will be dots. Color 2 will be background. Well, that didn't save, so color 2 it is. I'll adjust the color amount just a little more. Now we'll click this arrow to group them together, and we can edit them from here. We'll rename this node group dots. From here we can play with the scale till we get something we like. Let's just adjust this a little bit more. I'm pretty happy with how the pattern turned out. Now we can add some texture to the cupcake. Click the frosting, hit Alt and 0 to hide. Click Shift A to add a noise texture node. Connect color to base color. Click Shift A to add a color ramp. Now we can add a texture coordinate node and connect it to vector. We'll use a light brown and a dark brown to make the texture. Let's adjust the balance here. Now let's add a bump node. Connect this to normal and drop the bump node right in here. We can adjust the colors some more. And we're finished with the texture. For the camera angle, we can go up here and click view, scroll down to align view, then click align camera to view, and there we have it. Now we can head over to the Geometry Nodes workspace. I use Blender Guru's video on sprinkles to help me out with these because I'm honestly still trying to wrap my head around them. Start by clicking the frosting, then hit New Group. Input and output will pop up. Now we'll hit Shift A and add a distribute points on faces node right between these two and set the density to 0. Hit Shift A once again and add a join geometry node right here. If nothing appears, make sure to also connect the group input to the join geometry node as well. Now we can add the sprinkles. Hit Shift A and let's add a sphere. Move it up along the Z axis by hitting G and Z, and move it back down the Z axis. Then move it to the side by hitting G and X. Then we can scale it down by hitting S. Now back to the geometry nodes. So let's click the frosting. Let's add a new node called Instances on Points. We'll drop it right here. We can try adjusting the density, but it won't do anything right now. So let's click and drag our sphere, drop it right down here, and connect it to instance. Click the sphere, hit Ctrl A to apply a scale so the sprinkles aren't humongous. The sprinkles should be popping up on the frosting, but if they aren't, it's because the density needs to be higher. We'll add a rotate Euler node. Make sure to change this to local. Connect it to rotation right here and right here. Then add a random value node and we'll change this to vector and then connect it to rotate by. To rotate the sprinkles, we can go to wireframe to make sure they're rotating. Also make sure to set distribute points on faces to Poisson. Let's go ahead and connect these right here. We'll also go ahead and connect these as well. I still don't really like the placement of the sprinkles, so we can go ahead and adjust those some more. And we can set this to 0.004. Onto the weight paint. Hit Control Tab and click Weight Paint. This should help us control where each sprinkle is placed. Turn off the sprinkles so we can't see them. Red means there will be a lot and blue means there should be 0. I'll go ahead and speed this up a little. Let's turn the sprinkles back on. And if you're getting sprinkles on the bottom, come over here and click this box, and there we go, no more sprinkles on the bottom. Now we can adjust this to change the placement for our sprinkles. I'll go ahead and speed this part up as well. We can always go back and retouch up the bottom so it's all blue. So that just about wraps it up for part 1. Part 2 should be out in a few weeks, where we'll finish the sprinkles, we'll add some lighting, we'll create the ghost, and we'll begin animating. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far, and I hope to see you guys back for part 2.